All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. What you see here behind me is our Middle Tennessee Electric Hotline demonstration trailer. And the whole purpose of this trailer is to do a community service to the people out in the community, to kind of show them what electricity does, kind of bring awareness. What we try to do is show some safety issues, some awareness, some hazards, what not to do, what to do in case something happens. We do a lot of outreach in our communities. We do first responder. We go to EMT classes to show them how to respond to car wrecks. We go to fire departments, do the same thing. We do training sessions at the Tennessee Highway Patrol for their new cadets. Basically, this trailer has been going for several years now, and it's a great opportunity to learn something about electricity, and this is a great opportunity for us. What you see here is the trailer, and just kind of go over some things on the trailer. But before I start talking about the trailer, back behind the trailer you'll see lines next to the road. That's our system at Middle Tennessee Electric. Each one of those wires is 14,400 volts. What we've done, and there's a reason why that wire is so high up in the air, because that's 14,400 volts. So what we've done, we've cut that voltage in half, brought it down here to ground level. 7,200 volts is the operating voltage of this trailer. If you'll notice, this trailer is coned off, it's barricaded. This is a controlled chaos event right here. These guys are highly trained. We've got over 150 years of experience back here. You just can't show up and do this trailer. These guys have got a lot of hours of on-the-job training, a lot of years experience, and these guys are all local boys from Williamson County, and they're part about getting lights back on when your lights go out. So these guys are awesome. And I'm gonna make a real quick introduction real quick. We've got Dan Bonds here to my right. We've got Jerry Bartley right over here. We got Chris, hey, step out of the way so you can see him. We got Chris Gossett right there, and we got Adam Fuel in the back. They're all local boys, and my name is Mark Locke. I was born and raised here in the county. So what we've got, just kind of go over some things on the trailer. What you see is you see 3 posts right here. The top wire that Dan's going to point to, and also Chris, is the primary line. That is aluminum conductor, and when I say conductor, it conducts electricity. That's where the 7,200 volts is right now on that trailer. Then it comes down the line to a switch. Comes down that switch. You'll see the lights go on next on the meter bases. That's supposed to be the meter bases on the side of your homes. Comes down into the transformer, the high side of the transformer, and a transformer does exactly what it says it does. It transforms. There's no moving parts in that transformer. It works off mutual induction. Hey, you guys come sit down. Don't be scared. It's going to be awesome. Come on, sit down. Take a load off. All right. So when that transformer, that voltage goes around 7,200, it comes out of that transformer on the low sides. Chris is pointing to those 2 little points right there. Comes across your yard overhead. If you're served overhead, it's overhead triplex. You got 3 legs here. You'll see 2 legs that are insulated. That's your 120, 120 to make a total of 240 volts to feed your house. The uninsulated wire is the neutral or the return. How many of you guys here are fed by Middle Tennessee Electric? Show of hands. Awesome. All right. Well, no matter where you go, you're going to have the kind of same setup. You're either fed overhead or you're served by that green box right there on the trailer, which is underground insulation. You got 2 of those. That's awesome. Well, you know something? There's so many people nowadays, like those overhead lines, oh my God, they're ugly. Why we got to look at those? So there's such a big push for underground, and it's where we're going. Is the way of the future is to go underground. So you'll see more and more subdivisions, cities, rural parts that are going to be made in the underground format. So basically, here's the first demonstration, or the first thing we're going to show, is that line comes across your yard, and if you're served overhead, you have a weatherhead that comes on the side of your house. Best thing about climbing on the roof is that when you put a ladder up against the side of the roof, that's one of the best handholds ever to transition from your ladder to the roof. Whether dads clean out gutters, or older teenage sons, like get up there and clean out the gutters, or you throw something, you got to get a frisbee off or whatever, or even roofers, somebody coming to work on your roof. If you'll notice, Jerry is going to point to 3 connections up there, right there, and you see they're kind of shiny. Well, that is not right. This is the most important thing to pay attention to right here, and you'll see what will happen here in a second. When Middle Tennessee Electric comes out to install this wire on your side of your house, we make the transition from the wires in your house, from our pole with our wire, with those connections right there. What we do is we tape that up with insulated tape, so if anybody kind of gets up there, there will be no accidental contact with that, and they'll be safe. But over time, UV light, storms, hot, cold, weather will deteriorate that connection or that tape, and it will drop off. And Jerry's up there trying to clean the gutters right now, and he reaches up there and tries to grab something, and he accidentally grabs hold of that, not knowing. See what happened to him? So, what you do is, if you've got an installation like this at your home, give those connections a look. If you see something shiny up there, call us, or call your provider, your electrical provider. We'll come out and tape those leads so that they're safe. No cost to you. Any questions on that? Any questions? All right, next thing we're going to talk about, these guys clear this out of the way. Middle Tennessee Electric has actually rolled out at the Williamson County Fair, has actually rolled out the green carpet for you guys. But basically, I want you guys to use your imagination right here. What that is, that's your front yard in the underground subdivision. Has anybody, I know everybody's heard of 911. Has anybody ever heard of 811? What is 811?
When you're about to dig.
That's it. Boy, you're smart.
Oh yeah.
You're a bright one. So basically, 811 is call before you dig. Free of charge. What you do is there's such a big demand for underground utilities now, it's out of sight, out of mind. You'll never think, hey, up there, you know they're there. I mean, when you look up, you say, hey, there's everything. But when it's buried in the ground, it's like, okay, where is it? I don't know how it runs or whatever. But here's the thing. My wife, before I worked for Middle Tennessee Electric, wanted me to plant a tree in the front yard. And anybody who's married here, what mama wants, mama gets. So she wanted a tree. So I actually called Dan Bonds. He's a good friend of mine. And I said, look, man, I need you to come over and help me plant a tree in the front yard. It's a lot of digging. Dan said, it's not a problem, man. But here's the thing. In order to get him over to my house, I had to cook for him. Michelle's like, what does he like to eat? What does he like to drink? Whatever. So we had to feed him, had some pie and all that. So then after we eat, we go out in the yard, do some work. So we're out there digging, and we're in the underground subdivision fed by that green box. And he's out there digging, and watch what happens. If you guys got cameras, go ahead and you can go ahead and video this. This is pretty cool. At the 8:30 show, it's even better. All right. Now, does anybody know what that is?
Active wire.
What just happened? What was that?
Fire.
No.
No.
Does anybody know? Does anybody know? You better know. No, that is an electrical arc that you just saw there. Does anybody know the surface temperature of the sun? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller, anyone?
17 billion.
No. You guys are going to be surprised when you know this. Surface temperature of the sun is 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That electrical arc that you just saw there can be 4 to 5 times greater, 35,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It will melt porcelain, glass. It will burn clothes off of you. It is deadly. So here's the thing. If you have to do something in your yard, even next to your meter base, that was primary current. You can generate the same thing with this underground installation next to your meter base, next to your sidewalk, and you want to plant a flower bed. You can dig into this and cause the same thing. So they'll come out, 811 will come out and locate that service. Heaven forbid if you're digging and you cut the internet. Oh, Lord of mercy. The internet's out. Oh, no. Can you imagine? So basically what you want to do is you want to call 811, they'll get all the information from you, and they'll come out and take care and mark your yard so you don't get into anything. All right, moving on. If you're old, if you're an older person in this crowd, you're going to know, you're going to show your age when we ask you what this is. That handsome man right there is sitting there, right there. Does anybody know what that is behind him? It's kind of sticking up with all the little things on it. Does anybody know what that is?
Satellite.
It's not a satellite, no. Antenna, yes.
That's the word.
Antenna. All right, so basically, I was born in '69, and through the '70s and '80s, we had one of those on the side of my house. We had we could watch 2, 4, 5, 8, and then one day my dad came on with a special antenna, and then all of a sudden I could watch Channel 17. That's when I started watching Beverly Hillbillies, Petticoat Junction, Gilligan's Island, all that cool stuff, and I was the coolest kid on the block because everybody's like, let's go to Mark's house to watch out, because we don't have those channels. Well, that was about 4 or 5 channels. No, it was about 6 channels we had back then. Recently with my family, they said, hey, we want a satellite. So I got them a satellite. We've got 300 channels, and guess what? We're still watching 4 or 5 channels, believe it or not. But anyway, my wife wants that ugly antenna off the side of the house, and like I said about that tree, what Mama wants, Mama gets. She wants that antenna off the side of the house. So Jerry this time is going to come help me. I've got a lot of friends that want to help. So Jerry comes over. He said, man, I got this. I can get it down, no problem. But once again, we're not electricians. We're not linemen, so we just really don't think about the power lines above our head. And so Jerry goes to kind of get that down, and it's a long antenna. The wind's kind of picked up a little bit, and it kind of gets away from him. He's trying to, hey, Jerry, watch you wait. All right, now at this point, my wife's sticking her head out the door going, what did you guys do? So here's a neat thing. Middle Tennessee Electric, if you ever have lights out, you can go to your app store and go to my MTE MC app. You can download that app on your phone. You can report outages, pay your electric bill. Even if you're out, it'll give you updates. How much longer it's going to take to get lights back on. It's a great tool to have in your pocket. So if your lights go out, it's a neat thing to have. All right, moving on. You guys have been great so far. Chris right now is installing our next demonstration. What you see there, does anybody know what that is right there, sitting on that black tray? Anybody know what that is? Right there, with the wheels on. Does anybody know what that is? It is not a wagon. Does anybody know what that is? That has been several months in product development. That is a car. That is a car. And Miss Electra has been with the show for many years since it started. Miss Electra has just turned 16 years old, and her parents bought her a car. So she's out visiting friends one night. It's on a school night. Mom and Dad said, hey, I need you in by 8:30. Guess what time she leaves her friend's house by? About 8:25. It starts to rain outside on the way home. It's a little foggy. God forbid she wasn't doing this as she was driving. She loses control of the car, runs off the ditch. She hits one of those power poles on the side of the road. When those poles are up there, they're under tension. That wire is tight. But if you break that pole and cause it to change, that wire can bend down like this, even lay across a car. Well, this is what happened to Miss Electra. She broke the pole, and that primary line is laying across her car. She starts to panic. Watch what happens when she gets out of the car. One more time. Well, I tell you what. We'll cook it on this one. Guys, we're not trying to be morbid here. We're just trying to make the point here. This is a hot dog. Closest thing to human flesh we can get. Man, will you touch that and see if that's cold or hot right now?
Cold.
It's cold. Something about electrical burns. They do not burn from the outside in. They burn from the inside out. Now, this copper that's coming out of her arm right here is supposed to simulate human bone. That's her hand. Watch what happens to that hot dog when she goes to get out of that car. Is anybody hungry? 25 cents. You can have a hot dog, 25 cents. All right. Once again, touch that right there on the outside right there. All right, now touch it on the inside right there. Is that hot? No, that's hot. So it burns from the inside out. All right. Here's what I want you to know, and this is a true story. This happens all over the country, but this was told to me by a police officer, or actually a highway patrolman. It happened in Indiana. There was a lady that had an accident just like Miss Electra did. There was a line laying across her car. Male police officer shows up, trying to aid the woman. The line is laying like this, about this high off the road. As he's running to assist her, his head touches it, boom, he's dead in the ditch. A minute later, a female EMT showed up. The lady in the car saying, the police officer, she's running to aid him. She hits it, 2 fatalities right there because just unaware. What we're trying to do is make you aware of the situation. Now, why we're talking about this, God forbid this ever happens to you or you roll up on somebody and you have to see this. We teach the Tennessee Highway Patrol, first responders, don't approach that car. We'll let you do your job, let us do ours. But the main thing, and the best way I can explain this, is has anybody ever seen a bird on a wire? And you're wondering, how can that bird be on that wire and not get shocked? It's called step potential. In order for current to flow or electricity to flow, you have to have 2 different opposition or different potentials for electricity to flow or current to flow. And the best way I can explain this to you guys is, has anybody played darts before? All right, you got a bullseye, you got a 50, you got 100 if you hit the bullseye. The next ring is 75, the next ring's 50, and the next ring's 25, and so on. If you're in the bullseye, just like Miss Electra, if she stays in that car, she's fine. You see when she stepped out, and you'll understand this in a second, I hope. If I step from the 100 ring to the 75 ring, there's a difference of 25. If I take a big enough step from 100 to the 50, there's 50. There's a difference of 50. Now add thousands to that. If she was to step out from the car like this, you have a potential of touching the car to this foot of 3 to 4, maybe 5, 6,000 volts to travel through your body. So you want to think like a bird on a wire. If you have no physical disabilities and you're getting good health and you're pretty flexible and you're pretty athletic, or you don't have to be that, but if you're pretty good stable and you've got good balance, what you need to do is exit the car any way you can, but do not touch the ground. So what you want to do is you want to stand on your door frame and you want to jump away from the car. Away from the car. If you fall back and touch the car, you're going to end up like Miss Electra. So what you want to do is you want to keep your knees and your heels together and your ankles together, and you want to hop. Just like this. From there, I went from the 100 to the 75 to the 50. But the whole time, I'm staying the same potential as I'm moving along. Current can travel in the ground depending on moisture content, mineral content of that soil, or the asphalt. So about 24 to 30 feet out, you're safe. You can usually feel a sensation, but that's going to save you. Let me ask y'all a question. That car, not wagon, was energized at 7,200 volts. What kept that wagon from blowing up right there? Does anybody know? Oh, Lee. That's awesome, man. Tires. The tires, that 3 inches kept that whole wagon from blowing up right there. So if you're in a car, your tires will save you. Even if those tires blow, if you're still sitting in there and you're sitting on the rims, you'll still be safe. But you got to jump away from the car. Does that all make sense? Anybody? All right, perfect. Moving on. Do we have any cheerleaders in the crowd tonight? Anybody? Cheerleaders? Anybody's loud? Any brothers, sisters in here that yell at each other? Yes. Oh, Luke, so we've heard that you're pretty loud. So what's her name, Lucas? What's your name? Anna. Anna, if you'll notice, this is a female squirrel. You know what? A little bit hard-headed, stubborn. Are you that way? Okay, Anna, this one's for you. All right, so basically 90% of all Middle Tennessee electric outages are a combination of vegetation, trees, whatever, birds and squirrels. That's an easy outage. We can get you back on these kind of outages, usually about 1 hour to 2 hours easy, depending on where it is. And so basically, squirrels and birds and anything crawl up on the transformers, they're going to be 90% or a combination of getting your lights out. So, Anna, you better yell at it. You better yell at yourself. Get off the power line. Come on, let's hear it. Yes, you got to yell at the squirrel. Name's that. You got to tell her to get off the power line. Anna, get off the power line. See how easy that was? Do you talk to Lucas that way? Well, talk to her like you talk to Lucas. We're going to see if it's true or not. So she climbs over there. Lucas, get off. I mean, Anna, get off the power line.
Lucas, get off the power line.
Oh my gosh, she's stubborn and hard-headed, and boom. So, has anybody ever heard that sound before? What you're hearing is an expulsion fuse. It's an interruption of service. If that happens, you just get on your My MTMC app. You notify us. We'll come out. They'll dispatch Chris. He'll come to your house, get you back on in no time. All right. Next thing we're going to talk about is I've got this big barn I need painted. This big barn I need painted. And the most popular ladders out there are aluminum ladders. The reason they're popular is because they're light and you can move them around quite easily. Fiberglass ladders are heavy. What electricians and we use, because we know we have to use that to stay insulated from anything like power or electricity. But anybody, I've seen ladders out in subdivisions, painters walking around with 60-foot ladders. They're walking around going, oh, woof, 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 like this. So Dan, I've got one of those ladders and I've got to get the side of my barn painted. And hold on, time out. Yes, sir, what's your question?
Can birds break power lines too?
Can birds do what?
Break power lines?
Break power
Can
lines.
birds break them like that squirrel did?
Yes, birds and squirrels. They get up on top of them, they spread their wings, and they did the same thing the squirrel did. That's an excellent question. Give me a high five, buddy. That's a great question, exactly right. So Dan, so basically he's come over, he's got this ladder, and he's carrying it across the driveway. And of course my wife's coming out like, look, the last time y'all did it, you dug into the underground service, you took the antenna down, and now you're going to paint the side of the barn. So he goes up to paint, the ladder gets away from him, he trips on the rock. Guess thing you do. Now, can anybody tell me how hot electrical arc can get? Anybody tell me what the surface temperature of the sun is? 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit. All right. You get you a My Middle Tennessee Elect backpack. Yes. So listen throughout. But this ladder is a great thing because not only are ladders here in Middle Tennessee Electric construction, people with rock drill operators that drill on the side of the interstates or road moves or road construction, they have the big booms up there. We've responded to several times that they just didn't look up and they walked their drill into our power lines. Now, anytime you see major construction or cranes, you see us going out flagging, or you'll see signs that says lines above your head. We'll put insulated, we call them guts, or sleeves on the line for accidental contact. Dump trucks that forget to let their beds down will walk into a power line. Farmers that overstack their hay. Have you ever done that, John? No, you're one of the smart ones that actually run into our power lines. So that's just to kind of bring awareness. Like I said, this whole presentation is really not, it's just a conversation to kind of bring awareness. Hey, does anybody have a birthday this month? Awesome. What is your name?
What's your name?
What's her name?
Wheezy.
Wheezy. Oh, what a cool,
Eloise.
Wheezy, what a cool name. Wheezy, Middle Tennessee Electric loves birthdays, and we're going to give you something, all right? What's the most popular balloon that you guys can think about? What is it? Mylar. Who said that? Oh, man, these backpacks are going quick. Oh. And guess what? Guess where Mylar balloons go when you let go of them?
Power line.
Power line. Every time. You'll see a big cluster of them up there. So basically, Wheezy, it's your birthday. And guess what? This is your treat tonight because everybody's going to sing happy birthday to you. All right? So you ready? On the count of three, everybody sing for this sweet child. Wheezy. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Wheezy. Happy birthday to you. Here's your balloon, and all of a sudden, you let it go, and guess where it's going? Oh, gosh, no, it's not going into the power line. No, please. Oh, gosh. Now you're calling Middle Tennessee Electric. Watch the balloon as he sticks it between the fuse. You see the house? You see the meter on the side of the house? It's still burning. Electricity can conduct through that balloon. Wheezy, never say that we never gave you anything. Happy birthday. Put this in your brand new backpack. Happy birthday to you, Wheezy. Congratulations. All right, moving on. We talked about birds and squirrels being a part of 90% of all Middle Tennessee Electric outages. The other combination of that, and I said right of way, tree limbs, trees. Middle Tennessee Electric has a right of way program. If I'm the center line, if I'm the pole, we go 20 foot to the left, 20 foot to the right, a total of 40 foot. We trim, clear cut. The reason we do that, we cannot offer you 100% total power all the time, but we can get close to the mark. We have to keep our right-of-ways clear so we can get equipment, our boom trucks, our bucket trucks in there to get, if the line goes down, to get it up there quickly. If we got a whole bunch of vegetation, tree limbs on there, it'll cause interruption in your power. So the best thing to do, there's so many home offices now, people working from work, so much going on at homes now, that we have to be as best as we can to keep those right-of-ways clean. So if you see a tree trimmer out there, don't get mad at them. Give them a hug and tell them thank you, because they're help keeping your lights on. Has anybody ever seen a limb on a line before? Has anybody? Storms will bring limbs and trees. If you ever see something like that and it's coming to the ground, do not touch it. Watch what happens to this limb. Do not touch it. And I know there's some lumberjacks out there and some lumberjills. I remember before I worked at Middle Tennessee Electric, I was a teenager and I was working with my dad on the farm, and we were clear cutting some trees. And I accidentally cut a tree and it landed in the power line. I think the good Lord was with me that day because I let go of this chainsaw just in time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could have been holding that chainsaw and I could have been electrocuted right there, because electricity is actually flowing in that wood. Just like the ground, I guess it determines the consistency, what's in that stick, the moisture, minerals, everything else. Call us, we'll come out there and get that limb off. Just watch it burn. So right now, that primary current, 7200, is trying to make it down to the neutral. Least path of resistance. It's trying to get to ground. And that neutral, that's the second wire down, is grounded. It's all the way going by the pole down into the earth. So that high voltage is trying its best to get down to the ground through that stick. So it's going to start getting a little crazy here in a minute. You're going to see a direct fault on our power line. It's almost about to do its thing. All right, any questions about that? All right, you guys have been awesome. We've got one more thing to show you, demonstrate something very near and dear to linemen's hearts. Many linemen their lives have been taken from them because of this device. We can get simple outages back on, like birds and squirrels and trees, in probably 1 to 2 hours. But sometimes Mother Nature throws us a curveball. We'll have severe thunderstorms come in. We'll have hurricanes, tornadoes, ice storms. They wreak havoc on, no matter where you live in the world, they'll wreak havoc on your power system. Has anybody in the crowd ever been out of power for 2 days? 3 days? A week? Can you imagine what that household's like? All the fussing and fighting going on, no hot water, no heating and air, y'all stinking. Daddy's wearing the same underwear he's worn all week. Goodness gracious. So, the smart ones are the ones, what do they do? What can you do to help your power outage? What can you buy? Backup generator. Golly.
No, it's mine.
Y'all are millennials, and what you're doing is you're looking at Google real quick, and she's giving you the answers. I know what y'all are doing. There you go. Congratulations on that. A backup generator. That's exactly right. Can y'all hear that running right now? It's called the silent killer. Because when we go out, when big storms happen, our control center is telling us linemen that, hey, the power's out in that region. We go down the roads, you don't see power there. You go by houses. But there's one guy at the end of the street that nobody sees. It's way back off the road. His name's Jim, or Bob, whoever his name is, has bought a brand new Honda generator. He's dragged that generator on the outside of his utility room, opened the window, ran just a regular cord like this. This is a dryer plug. He's hooked this in to his generator, unhooked his dryer, popped this in the socket, turned the generator on. Now he's got electricity in the house. But here's where I'm going with this. Did he install it correctly? And what I mean by that, if you'll notice, there's a green light on the end that's on the bottom of that pole. That green light says he installed it correctly. That means behind it there's a little panel, you can't see it. It's called a double pole, double throw switch. And a licensed electrician has to install it now because there's standards, because of all the things that's happened or gone wrong in the past, for now to be standards like this to have these installed on your house. Go ahead and flip the switch. Now this, what you're seeing is that red light on the meter base. This is what happens when Jim unplugged his dryer and plugged this into the side of the wall. This is going out through his disconnect, up through his meter, up his weatherhead, across his yard to the low sides of the transformer. Remember, a transformer does exactly what it says it does. It doesn't care where it gets the voltage from. It gets 120 into that transformer, and transformer transforms. It comes out high side of that transformer, 7,200 volts. Now watch what happens when Dan closes that. That top line now is actually energized at 7,200. Now it's going down the street that you live on, and watch Chris when he closes that switch. Watch the lights come on in that house. Off that generator, off 120 volts. That is energized at 7,200. Now, that red light saying it's not energized, it's not installed correctly. Now watch what happens when one day you're after the big storm has come through and your kids go out to play in the snow and you haven't noticed that there's power lines broke because of the ice. They run out in the yard and they touch this line. Watch what happens. Or better yet, the things that happen to linemen. We'll be out trying to restore service thinking the lights are out. We don't know the generator. We can't hear it. Reach down and grab this, and now we're electrocuted and we're dead. So that's why we wear rubber gloves. Y'all don't have rubber gloves. Our protocol is we don't touch a line without having our rubber gloves on. You could be coming home one night or even leaving for work the next morning, and this is laying over your driveway, and you get out to move it up so you get your car underneath it. Guess what? Boom. There you go. Just like Electra. So the main thing is that green switch, if you got it installed correctly, will not allow that to happen. Does that make sense? Guys, you have been magnificent. I thank you for our first show. Great question, smart. Y'all are very smart. Very smart. Y'all are great. The guys are making this trailer safe. Once they get the grounding chain on, we're going to open this up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask any questions you want about anything. These are some of the smartest guys I've ever worked with. We are each other's brothers' keepers. They don't let us we always got each other's back every time we do something. Our pencils do not come with erasers on them, if that makes sense. We cannot make a mistake or we don't go home at night. So these guys are awesome, and especially you youngsters, if you need help with your homework, they can write papers for you, they can do math equations for you. They're smart guys, I'm telling you. So anyway, guys, thank you. Enjoy your time at the fair. And if you want to come back at about 8:30, it's going to be a little bit better because it's darker and you can see the explosions and the arcs better. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much.